follow on, we go through some of the books we've already uploaded in their amazing variety.
Yeah.
It's
There's
easy
a
work.
few.
There's a few, and all quite different in a way. So we've got, which one do you want to start with?
Let's go with my favourite title one. Some people want
Want
to
to
shoot
shoot
me. Yeah.
Yep. Madeleine Dickey is the journalist who co-wrote this book with Wayne Bergman, who is an Indigenous leader in Central Australia. You know, just a land title situation and mining. Beautiful, amazing story. And Madeleine said these were the first words that Wayne told her when she first met him. It was like, yep, some people want to shoot me. I can just see that happening.
Yeah.
So, man, a few words, but every word is meaningful. Really wonderful to be involved in that book. I was so glad. Like, we're talking about different parts of Australia, Western Australia, Central Australia, us here, and we had a kind of a process where we actually did get some of the foreword, the prologue, narrated by Wayne and Madeleine themselves, so that we could get that authenticity of just being a forward, and then had the rest professionally narrated. And that was a great process. Came together so well. We also had, I suppose, in the same sphere, Fiona Foley. Provocateur.
Yeah.
Which was written by Louise Martin Chu. Fiona Foley is an iconic Indigenous artist, very shy. So it was a learning process for all of us to have that material. Now, Fiona is a Bachelor woman, and we did source a wonderful performer, Tabitha Saunders, and she narrated, she orated, I suppose is a better term, the material that was actually in first person from Fiona Foley. So the rest of the book was narrated by Christina Percival, because it was in Madeleine's voice.
Yeah.
So we had two levels of voices involved in that fantastic, really great project. The other one that was really quite different that we've already uploaded was Alexandra Adams' The Self-Made Saint, which is a dramedy and is, okay, if we're going to be talking about distances, triangulations, Alexandra is an Australian woman, but she lives in Switzerland and has got a family there. The person that was chosen to be the narrator is in Britain, Lisa Armitage, and we are in Australia, in Sydney. So our audio engineers here, there were in fact beautiful musical elements, but there were things like magpies, for instance, because these were the sounds, the early morning sounds of being in Australia for the Australian scenes.
Yeah.
And it was something that really delighted Alexandra when Marty found these sounds where he could start some chapters using that. But again, being different parts of the world was not a huge problem, because the process
it wasn't a problem at all. No, simple.
There was a timing one where really this is my gig time, this is my early coffee time, it was that kind of conversation, but that would be the same conversation we'd have as being just in Sydney, so it was all good.
Speaking about the textured noises of the magpies and so forth, Gaia Village.
Beautiful book. Not a long book, written by Sayako Angwin, and gorgeously narrated by Nikki Wichlau. This is studded with sound effects and also music that Sayako chose or found with our audio engineer. Now, there are sound libraries. You do not want to be paying royalties for the rest of your life for music that you love and adore. That's great. This is about the book itself and how the book is going to come alive, and not so that sound effect and music does not interfere with the listening experience. It enhances it, but doesn't interfere. It doesn't
jut you out.
Jut you out, yeah, and become a personality on its own. Seiko did a beautiful job of finding the right music, and certainly Marty assisted in that. And his magic was to be able to insert it in all the right places. So this is quite a channeled book. It is about the earth, Gaia, and the wisdom. It's about self-development. It's another kind of using your experiences as a way of going forward rather than retreating in the world.
Very touching.
Very lovely. And having the sound effects really helps with that messaging. So this is a way that audiobooks can really bring a manuscript to life and give it another texture. So there are times when you'll get a chime because it's time to sit back, take a few breaths as the listener, and wait for something that is going to be narrated, that is going to be meaningful. Or there's some thought or poetic piece that will be accompanied by, a kind of a harp music or a level of music that is going to assist in that process.
Yeah.
So
it feels much more immersive in that way, doesn't it? Almost like you're being read to by someone who's looking after you. It's like, you sit back now for 5 minutes. Here's the chime.
So that worked really well. That's up and running, so that's available.
Fantastic. And I guess a little bit on the sexier side, we have, is it No Wolves in LA?
No Wolves in LA, yes, by Mark Lawson. Mark, very practical, practical.
No Wolves in Los Angeles.
Sorry.
I keep saying LA.
Los Angeles. Look, that worked so really well, and Mark was a delight to work with. David Trednick was the perfect voice for this. And for instance, David came back after he read the book. This is something that as a writer you need to know. There is going to be one other person in the world who will know your book as well as you do, and that's going to be the narrator and performer of your book, because that person goes through each word many, many times, each sentence, and will want to get under the skin of it. David came back and said, so does Mark want kind of a soft American accent, because it's set in LA, but it's an Australian's story, and then when we come to Australia, I'll just break out. It'll just be the dialogue that's in Australian accent, or will we do it the other way, where it's soft Australian, and then most of it, or the dialogue will be US dialogue from different parts of America. This is how talented the person is that we're talking about. And he said, I can do it either way. So Mark was a bit bamboozled by that. He said, you know what, let David decide. And David did decide. He decided that he would like the delivery of it, the tempo of it was best in a soft American accent, with allowing the Aussie accent when it came through to really be the star of the show. So that worked really well. Yeah, of course the Americans still sound like Americans from different parts of America. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, music in itself, in a way.
Music, the Aussie accent, you mean?
Yeah,
totally. So that was done so swiftly. It was probably our first book ever where there were no pickups. So pickups are when you as the author will receive the whole book in first draft form, audio version, and you will timestamp any mistakes or any mispronunciations or glitches. Sometimes a narrator might do something 2 or 3 times to try and get it right, so they will leave the 2 or 3 versions in so the author can hear it. There was not one pickup.
Yeah, fantastic.
So it was just perfectly done from the get-go. Having said that, Mark, we go through a process of asking the author to provide director's notes for each chapter. In this chapter, there is a surprise coming, so I would like there to be a bit of tension building up. These are the words that are going to be, might be an issue. We do allow people to have audio, well, the author will send us audios of particular words, and or pronunciations of names or terminologies or jargon. So all that happens. Mark did an amazing job. Enough so that David was able to rehearse, incorporate those comments, and go all the way through like that.
Yeah.
It was just a really wonderful project to work with.
I was going to say, we were going to save it for later with Love Partition, but what you were talking about then with the author sending through the little hints, and that's what we had with Love Petition in terms of the author sending through pronunciations of a lot of the words that she wanted in a certain dialect.
Yeah. There are a very large number of dialects in India, and because this particular book, Love Partitioned, huge saga, blood, sex, tears, there's a lot going on, and it's all real.
Written by a Stanford scholar.
Manjula Waldron, exceptional woman, born in India, is a Stanford scholar, is an emeritus professor, and a scientist in her own right, and really felt married an Aussie guy, Aussies. You know, we draw them from everywhere.
That musical voice.
Yeah, it's a musical voice. Married an Aussie guy, and has her children here. This is where her family is. She really wanted this story, which is her mother's story, and to just encapsulate all those memories, all those stories that she heard in a book, so they're not forgotten. The lessons are learned and not, disappearing. And so, and at an older age, and not incredibly well, she wrote this book, exceptional, and wanted it produced. There were a very large number of words that require a certain pronunciation, and there would have been well over 100.
Yeah.
And the best way for Manjula to do that was to, we have an Excel sheet. We sometimes ask authors to just give us kind of phonetical interpretation of how to pronounce a word, but the audio version is absolutely the best. And Manjula was able to do that. We have a WhatsApp group where the whole production team is on, and Manjula would go through each chapter and tell us how she would like particular words pronounced. And that made the job for Caroline George much more able. Caroline herself is from a family that comes from India. She understood the sways of the language and the way that it carries itself in English, but certainly there were words that in different parts of India are pronounced differently and can mean very different things.
Yeah.
So those audio files worked really well.
Fantastic.
A great book, and that today is being uploaded. So very excited about that. We took a lot of care with that. That again also has a lot of music attached to it. And this was an interesting process because Manjula wanted songs that she felt should come from movies that were contemporary to the time. So these are Indian movies that have got ancient songs being sung by performers.
That's fun.
Oh yes, and so she'd source them, and we were listening to them and going, yeah, this is great. But what about the royalties? She goes, these, Maria, are very old songs that, they're like nursery rhymes. Like, nobody owns the rights to these anymore. And we did, of course, that's a logical thing to think, but not so cruel. If you're a writer and you're wanting to use these kinds of songs, even if you're using them, to write, the person who will want the royalties is the recording artist. So it's the recording artist and also the film company that owns the song or the film clip from which the song comes that has the royalty, the copyright. You can go through the long process of asking for free copyright, or you can find another piece of music that kind of gives you the same sense. We opted with the second because otherwise it would have delayed everything.
Years.
It could be years. Otherwise, you're stuck with huge royalty bills for the rest of your natural life.
Yeah.
Not good. Or the life of your book. So yeah, just a trap for young players out there. Just be flexible, and there are amazing sound libraries out there. And there are also some really good artists who will create something for you that is not expensive, so that you've got an original piece of music that follows, I don't know, the theme and vision that you have.
And it's such an original piece of work. It's like quite a saga, isn't it? So to have music that is original almost adds an extra element to it.
Yeah. I think she was very happy. And look, what was good about dealing with Manjula is that she gave it to her family to listen to. And she said her biggest fan now is her granddaughter. So her granddaughter and she have bonded over this book because it's sharing family memories and also saying some very important things about gender, about class, about religion, about how we as people deal with wartime and with conflict. And these are very relevant current issues.
Sure are.
So that was exciting, and I'm so excited that it's going to go up today. I mean, I'm going to flick up on LinkedIn today the cover that has been decided upon by Manjula, and it's got a picture of an old man who looks like Gandhi actually, but isn't, using an ancient spinning wheel, and that's Manjula's grandfather, whom she said span every day. So
Beautiful.
I know. So yes, wonderful project. Thanks, Manjula. Very honoured to have been part of that.
It's gorgeous. And maybe we wrap here and we'll do what we're up to.
Did we mention some people want to shoot me? Because I just want to finish that story.
Okay, yeah.
140 Indigenous words
Oh wow, yeah.
that were delivered in audio to Tamala Shelton, who narrated the book in Melbourne. So Tamala Shelton is a highly respected Indigenous performer. Excellent. And she just seamlessly took that list of recordings, and also recordings of particular characters, so that she could get that were interviewed, they were real people interviewed by Madeleine, the recording sent to Tamala so she can get a feeling for their character.
Yeah.
Amazing. Sorry.
So
So excited. Okay, 17 minutes. We better stop. Sorry.
Bye.
Okay.
See ya.